Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. I haven't posted a long form in a while, but something like this pops up, I just got to do a video on it. So this bike is a 73 FLH. According to the sticker, it was last on the road in April of 76. Story behind this is the guy laid it down, didn't want to ride it anymore, it sat in his carport until about 2020. So from 76 to 2020, this thing was sitting in a carport down here in South Carolina, which is why all of this looks the way it does. I love how the vinyl striping from the AMF is the only thing that really stayed. This bike was originally a purple-ish color, dark blue, something. I don't have a front or rear fender for it, but it came with pretty much everything else. And we're gonna get this thing to run. I'm gonna end up sending this motor off, and we're gonna get it redone and everything future down the line. But I want to hear what a legit 1970s shovelhead straight from 1976 is going to sound like. So it's got a lot of corrosion, everything's kind of crusted up, missing that, but whatever, that's fine. We're going to throw this thing together. I've got the transmission, got everything else for it, so we're going to piece it together enough to make it run. So transmission, oil bag, we'll run a battery to it. I'm just going to run an open chain primary because I don't feel like messing with the starter, and we'll throw a Kickstarter on it. It's an electric start only bike, but we'll come through that. This motor run. So we're gonna make that happen. I'm bringing it back now. I've been pretty busy. So I got the transmission in, I threw in an oil tank just to make it work. Put the kicker on the transmission, ran the oil lines. Day two, well really night two, because I'm doing all this in the middle of the night. Very temporary electrical system, just wired up to a real simple switch so I can run the coil and go to the points. So we're gonna check for spark real quick. So I'm gonna put you guys up right here. We'll crank the motor over some, make sure we got spark. Once we know all that's good, I've already rigged up the oil tank. We've got oil coming out in some other spots up here, so we'll get all this purged in. We know the motor's full of oil. The stuff that's coming out of it's pretty nasty, but I'll show you guys that. And then we'll get ready to fire this thing up. So I'll get you guys set up right here. Let's kick it over, check for some spark. Yep, we got some spark. Okay, so now we know we're gonna have spark. I did clean the plugs and go through everything else. We've been getting oil out of this top connection here. See if you can really even see that. So, and that's starting to look like some of the fresher oil that I put in. So that's good. So that means we've got oil coming the whole way through. It's getting pumped up to the top rocker box. I'm putting in a different line here. For some reason I took this apart, and we'll pump some more oil across, make sure the oil gets in this head. And then the next thing we're gonna do is finish up mounting up the Bendix carb. I originally had a Bendix on it. I have another one that's in way better shape. Because it looks like the rest of this, so there was no way that thing was going to run. So I'll throw the new Bendix on, well, new to it Bendix on, get that mounted up, and then I've got to go through the tanks. So the way I'm just going to run it is just one tank. I'm just going to throw this one on because it's got the petcock on it, and then we'll run that tank, just mount it up on this side. That's really about it. Well, I guess I got to put a motor mount in, and then we'll rig up the charging system real quick. But other than that, this thing's about ready to fire up. A little bit of an update. See all that oil running out from here? That's from the case breather, which is back there. I was trying to figure out why this bike wasn't sumped. It should totally be sumped. It's been sitting forever. It was sumped. That was plugged. So the case breather was plugged. So all this oil was just sitting in there, and I was battling against it and everything else. But now I've got all that draining out, so that's good. And we'll get that hooked up with a appropriate plug and move on. All right, she's all set up. Verify we got fuel going. So let's kick this thing through a couple times, see if she's gonna fire up. Give her a prime kick or two. All right, let's see what happens. Been sitting almost 50 years. Took maybe like 10 kicks, fired right off, and she sounds perfect. Like, honestly, this motor is so freaking quiet. I've never really heard a shovelhead that's this quiet, probably because I've never heard one that only had 2,700 miles on it. This is amazing. Looks like complete trash, but even the charging system works. Like, everything works. So, can't beat this. But now we're gonna take it all down, pull the motor out, do everything else. I want to make sure this was a good viable motor for my friend before I went through everything else with it. And she's a ripper. This thing's gonna end up turning into a really sweet shovelhead chopper. Yeah, both warm. Nice. And that's gonna pretty much end it up for this one. So if you like content like this, let me know. I kind of like these revivals like this. This is kind of crazy. Like, it's been sitting for so long and it fires right back up. It's still got the original points in it. The original condenser, all that sort of stuff, and everything is just working. I had to file, well, not file them, but I had to do some sandpaper work down in here because the points were actually messed up, and this connector right here was super corroded up inside. If you guys like this one, this one's fun.